Okay, same day, what? March 26th, 2020, right? I guess this is the kitchen chit-chat. Right? I get lonely for Uncle John. You know, he used to sit there and talk to me all the time, right? So anyway, since we've got farm potatoes, we might as well do it the farmer's way. Just imagine if we had, you know, no electrical appliances and we had to do it old school way. So I'm going to try it old school way. This shredder's not too bad. And as I do that, I'm going to heat up my water here. My burner actually turned on this time. And I'm just going to talk for a little bit. Oh yeah, this is easy. And I'm just going to talk for a little bit, right? Because, do you see my fridge over there? Oh, do you see the flag? Look at that, people. Look, do you see, what do you see there? That's an American flag. Tomorrow, Ciera gets buried, right? So, I'm going to hang flags on her casket. I have to still go into my room and locate a Canadian flag. I know I have way in the back underneath my bed a bin full of flags, but I'm not getting underneath there, that's for sure. But I'm pretty sure I have a Canadian one somewhere on my table in there, because this flag and the Canadian one that's in my room, I was going to bring out into where I sit and do my videos, so that, you know, you'd see that behind me sometimes, right? That's what I was going to do with them. So there should be a Canadian flag on my table in there. It's just, I got shit piled up all over the place. So I have to dig around. Plus, Tisha wants me to wear black. She said, Mom, make sure you wear black tomorrow. And I'm black. Right? Wasn't even thinking about anything, but she wants me to dress in black. So maybe I'll pull down my black full-length to the heels suede jacket. And I got a fuzzy one too. I have a choice of two. With black underneath it. With black boots. With my flags, people. Right. So that was really easy. That happened really fast. So what you do, you shred, and then you put it in the water for now, right? So it doesn't turn brown. And then when your water is boiling, you give it a quick, well, you drain it first, right? But you gotta be careful. I don't even like, I like the starch. I keep the starch as it builds up, and I'll dehydrate the starch, because you never know. You might need that starch one day, people. You know, you just don't know. And for what it's worth, you know, it does start to add up. And, I mean, you got lots of things you could do with potato starch. So, okay. So what was I saying? So anyway, Tisha wants me to dress up all in black. She wants everybody dressing in black. Okay. Tisha's always been the fashionable one in the house. And after I'm done, got these potatoes now doing, you know, in their dehydrator. Then I'm gonna go look for the Canadian flag. I guess I'll go look for some clothes. Right. I'm gonna record tomorrow. We're only allowed 10 people. And right, so, but after everything's all said and done, we will do the celebration of life in a hall. Right, I've got somebody that knows Ciera is already offered to help. He's known the family for a long time. Through friends of friends of friends, right? And so that will be cool. Because I'm sure he'll get it hopping. Right? Like I said, Ciera had a lot of friends over the years. A lot of her friends seen Ciera go through too much shit that was completely unnecessary. And I know everybody felt helpless to do anything about it. Right? But that doesn't mean that they weren't her friend. So. And then next week, I'll still be doing this. I am going to drag out my, what do you call that? Food processor in there for sure, because I know that one should work for what I need to do. But for what this is worth, I could actually get Andre to try and do it. Well, maybe not. His hands are too small. But for, you can see it's going pretty fast. Right? It's not really that hard. But, you know, I have to move stuff. I got a lot of school stuff underneath the table. Right? From being that homeschool mom. Years and years and years and years and years and years ago. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this works. Right now, this isn't working too bad. It's actually going pretty fast. These potatoes are shredding really nice. Okay, let me just get a little more water, and then I'm going to come back to you, and I'm going to talk to you about something else. Hold on. You want to keep them in water, underwater, until you're ready to use them. That cuts back on the browning, right? And then after a while, the starch settles to the bottom. And then you just take off the surface water. And you keep the starch, and then you put it in the dehydrator, and you dehydrate it. So you're not losing out. You still have that. Okay. So, my son said, that's the other part of the title of this video, so it gets me thinking about it. One day, it would be really cool if my son would allow it to happen. I don't know if he would. Because he's smarter than me in many ways, but then I'm smarter than him in many ways. He doesn't necessarily see it that way, but he's pretty book smart, right? He's got good critical thinking skills, and you know, he's a man, so of course different parts of the brain, and you know, analyzing. Okay, so we get into these debates. Maybe one day he'll let me record our debates. If we get into these conversations, like, you know, his idea of how I should live my life, and Tisha's kind of the same way, right, is some things I just need to let go. I'm just giving you an example. Like, I shouldn't be fighting so hard for justice, I guess you could say. Right? You know, I should be thinking about doing a park event, like the good old days, because it's a happy time. I need to go back into that happy time. That's what ShaMay wanted to do, because she had Amari. She wanted to go, she asked me, said, Mom, we need to start doing park events again. Can we start doing something with the kids? And I told her, yeah. But within a month or two or whatever from the time she said that, she ended up being dead. So that never happened. That's kind of one reason why I did the celebration of life, because that's what she wanted me to do. Well, my son kind of wants me to get back up on that bandwagon. We had a general meeting, and he suggested that we plan a little event in a hall where people can sign up and do their little music, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. And he just said, basically, because he wants me to be happy, like I used to be. Right? So, when I work on filing lawsuits and all that crap, you know, he sees it as maybe torturing myself, or I lost my way, right? And this is where my son said, because he wants everything in black and white, where I can, if I say something, I have to be able to whip out the paper and prove it to him right then and there, which isn't necessarily the case. Now, mind you, I don't mind the challenge. Sometimes it frustrates me. Sometimes it makes me emotional because, you know, he's so detached from, I don't know, the cause or whatever it is that I'm fighting for. Like, he's not as emotionally involved with it as, say, I am, right? So that hurts my feelings because he's supposed to be my son, right? So, you know, maybe in a debate, I don't, you know, he'll say, well, you're just trying to manipulate me, you know, tears don't bring, crocodile tears ain't going to change anything. Because I'll start crying because he'll say something and it frustrates me so much. And I know that what I'm saying is true, right? But I don't have the papers right there, one after another, to prove what I'm trying to say. As he's being kind of either ambiguous or stubborn, or you know, he might wing something off that I have to think outside of the box, and so. But then on the other hand, it reminds me of what I'm going to be up against when I get to court, because the same questions or answers that he's giving me in terms of how he interprets things will be the same stuff that I'm going to be facing in court when I get to court. Okay? So I'm not mad at him for that. Not at all. Right? And I've already explained to him that, you know, over the last little while, I mean, I've always been a justice warrior, people. Go into my videos. You see me out there advocating for the homeless people, right? You know, I've been in homeless camps, you know, whatever, right? You know, I've done multiple things over the years that, you know, whether it's to do with children or just people in general, you know. So being in that way, it's kind of like already there, but when you take it to a level that I've been taking it to in regards to filing lawsuits like I did for Uncle John, and then now ShaMay and Uncle John and a little bit of Ciera, getting ready for the big one with Ciera, because the legislation has to change, people. It has to change. I don't think it's going to change with what I filed right now. I don't. Unless of course the government and really wants to reassess its legislation in terms of how it all interacts with each other to even make it to a point where, you know, I'm faced with this dilemma. Like I said, I can't imagine what it would be like for people who don't have a handle on the English language coming to this country thinking that they're safe. It might take 10, 15, 20 years for it to catch up to them because people like my family will be gone. But sooner or later, the circle is going to come, the cycle is going to come full fucking circle. And this is what I want to see. So, okay, I'm having this debate with my son. He's challenging me. I need to connect the dots. I'm going to see if maybe one day he can have a debate with me online, like in terms of a video, just to, so like you can see how we talk to each other on an intellectual level. But before I get to that point, see this fridge over here? I think I'm going to bring out my wipeout board and put some paper on it. And I'm going to start writing down the different categories, because I know I say, oh, it's just the Canadian people that are being targeted, blah, 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 for their organs or whatever it may be. You know what? That isn't necessarily true, people, because we're not in every place at all times, all the time, to know what is happening to some of these people that are coming into this country as blind as fuck, right, and are being trafficked. And we actually do have a problem with Asian women being trafficked out here. I don't know about South Asian women, I don't know about the Punjabi community, but most definitely Chinese women, they are being trafficked out here, people. Okay? So, who's to say, this is just hypothetical, but it's possible, because, and the reason I say this is because we have a problem with identity theft out here. A couple, 2-3 years back, Calgary police busted a operation where they had 3,000 false identities that these people were running. As they're bringing in, you know, illegal immigrants, I guess, into the country and giving them false identities so they can blend into the country. Okay? Let's just, now, I'm not saying this is what's happening, but it is possible. These houses that house these young people, which is namely men, okay? I mean, sure, everything seems to be on the up and up. It seems to be legitimate. But who's to say that out of every 100, and we'll just say out of every 100, who's to say that out of every 100 young Punjabi men, or Chinese men, or whoever men, or even the women that come here to go to school, for every 100, 2 end up like ShaMay. And maybe 3 end up like Ciera. Maybe not in those exact circumstances in terms of how they got there, but the end result was their organs were harvested illegally. And because those parents can't fact check to see if their international child has any organs, well, what's to stop it when the system is already in place? Right? Because honestly, I told you people, I'm almost positive some man, it wasn't a woman, it was a man, got raped over there. I don't know if it had to do with initiation into a form of a gang, in terms of, you're the bitch, follow the rules, we're the boss, fuck you, right? Or if it's just a bunch of horny guys with no women and took it out on one of their buddies. Because it's possible, right? Just not, you know, there's no women out here for them, very few, and we still have arranged marriages, although many will say they got rid of that tradition a long time ago. That is not true. Right? So, you know, when it comes to being a justice warrior and accepting the responsibility, I guess you could say, around that in regards to the next level. Right? It's one thing going out on the streets, people, with your Mayor X hat on and saying, hey, yeah, I'm here for the people. Oh, no, there goes the cops and fuck you because I'm here with the people. You know, we need housing. I've been saying that for years and years and years, people. Go into my videos. You will see pictures, videos like that. Now I've taken it to a whole new level where, you know, it's getting harder and harder for the government to ignore. And then I place myself into the shoes of a professor. Yeah, of a professor that has their books around them and at their desk and have been working on something for years and years. And they're content. That's the thing. They're content to work with it, knowing that their effort is not going in vain. And they believe in what they do, so there is no time frame on it or time limit, so therefore they don't get disturbed by accepting the responsibility, because it's something that's going to be with them more than likely for life. Well, that's where I'm at with a lot of the things that I'm doing. And this is the thing my son doesn't quite, well, I try to explain to my son, this is how I feel about it, right? That's where I'm at in life right now. So, because I'm there, you know, and I tell them like, oh, the lawsuit's been filed. You know, are you proud of me? No. Like, why should I have to be proud of you? I don't like mean proud, but like, you know, I don't know if it's because he's worried for me or if it's you can't go backwards, people. You can only go forward. Okay. So, let me just go wash my hands. Hold on. I don't want to touch the camera and get electrocuted, right? I probably put a little bit more water in here, but it doesn't really matter. You just put this now into there and you boil for like 1 minute or whatever, and then you take see, my strainer's underneath there, so you take a strainer and you scoop it out, you put it into the strainer, you go rinse it off, let it drain for a bit, and then you put it into your dehydrator. And you do that until it's done, right? So what I'm going to end up doing here then, people, I'll just keep this video short, I guess. I just wanted to say that I think I'm going to have to put a little pegboard up there, a wipeout board with some paper on it or something. I don't know. And try and write some of this stuff down so I don't sound like I'm always going through the same circles, right? Because maybe the immigrant population doesn't realize the severity of some of the issues that I talk about, not that they're listening to my videos anyway. They have their own corner of the world. Everybody in BC has their own corner of the world. The Chinese are in Richmond, they have their corner, right? The Punjabis mainly in Surrey, they have this corner. And then, you know, so-and-so over there has that corner. And people pretty much just kind of stick to their own feathers, right? They don't really cross-mix with each other very much, and that's one of the problems that we have in this province. But that doesn't mean that some of these young people that are coming in through international trade, the trafficking of people to make more money, right? Trafficking is trafficking, people. If they're charging these students more money just to go to school out here, charging these students more money to pay rent just so they can get the fuck out of their miserable countries and come here and then find out 20 years later that it was a big mistake, like, think about it. When in fact some of them may be already being called, right, in terms of disappearing or you know, suddenly suspicious death that the cops aren't investigating, right? They're not immune to that. They have there's those issues out there, you know, and parents want to come in. No matter how much money they have, they'll never be able to get a forensic autopsy because our provincial government has made it so. That needs to be reversed, people. That is the justice that puts me at the desk with the professor. And being that I have these big-ass debates with my son, and prove it. Well, I guess I'm going to have to get a little board up here with some, you know, something so that I can say, it's right there. Now do you believe me? It's right there, black and white, and here is the fucking envelope that goes with it. Okay, so that's all done. I did all those potatoes. Now I'm going to run this under the water. I just wanted you to see, right? So what you do is you just let this now sit so all the starch settles to the bottom right along with this. Hold on. Okay, so obviously after you rinse it off with some cold water, you try and squeeze out as much as you can. You put it, do you see how old this thing is getting? Right. Anyway, you put on there, right? And I like to have it on high for a half an hour to an hour anyway, just to dry off some of that excess water. And what because this is quite thick, right? And what I'll do is halfway through, maybe in a half an hour from now, you know, with these trays, you have to kind of like move things, right? And then I'll move them up and down. I'll exchange them. And then eventually I'll put it back to 135. Right now I've got it right up on high. And that's just to what do you call that? Take off the excess water, right? And you dehydrate it, and then halfway through, right before, because everything's going to stick together, so when it's starting to dry, you kind of break it up so it, you know, goes through everything. And you'll see. That was, what, 6 potatoes? I got a long way to go now, people. So here, sometimes my finger, I think, touches the thing or something and it turns it off. But here, we should start getting, you can see it. You can see it on the bottom. Do you see it? There's that starch. So I'm just going to let that sit. I'm going to let this cool and sit. I'm going to see what kind I get, right? For sure you want this one. I don't remember about this one. I don't know if the starch will settle in this one because it's already kind of incorporated into the water. This water would be really good to make pita head dough with. You could make bread with this water, right? You know, you could. Maybe I should. I don't know. I don't have time though. That's the problem. So hold on.